Good morning, everyone. In my capacity as head of Department of Food Production, it is indeed my great pleasure and honor to extend a very warm welcome to all of you with us today to the opening ceremony of this important two-day workshop on eco-friendly approaches for the management of vegetable diseases. I also wish to take this opportunity to commend Dr. Sarah and his team for their sterling and tireless efforts in making this workshop a reality. The Department of Food Production and, by extension, the Faculty of Food and Agriculture and the University of the West Indies are delighted and honored to host this two-day training session for the participants who, I am told, and I looked at the list, come from diverse educational and geographical backgrounds, quite a diverse group. Now, from looking at the titles of the various presentations, it is clear to me that this is a very relevant and timely workshop because the management of diseases in vegetables is still, as far as I'm aware, to a large extent, especially in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean region, dominated by the use of chemicals such as fungicides and pesticides. However, with increasing concerns about sustainability and the adverse impacts on the environment from the improper and some may say indiscriminate use of agrochemicals, the search for safe and effective eco-friendly approaches for disease management in plants by our scientists at the UWI is quite commendable and reassuring. I am hopeful that this training workshop will achieve the following three objectives: improve the skills and knowledge of the participants so that they could better serve and or advise the farming community. Secondly, engage our stakeholders in striving to solve real problems in the farming community, which is in sync with the mission of the Faculty of Food and Agriculture, and by extension, the University of the West Indies. And thirdly, create a network of agricultural professionals who could inform us in a timely manner of the problems encountered in the field, which will help us to prioritize and focus our efforts, as well as optimize the use of our limited and scarce resources.
As we all know, pests and diseases are the major constraints in agricultural production, which ultimately leads to a major question on the food security. And to address this food security, or to control the pests and diseases, and we have to use the plenty amount of pesticides. And no one will doubt on the use of pesticides in achieving the food security. At the same time, when we apply the toxic pesticides, the food safety is in a big question. The pesticide residues and negative impacts on the environment and human health are the major concerns. Again, if we say don't use the pesticides, then what are the other options? What are the other alternatives? We have to develop. And without developing alternatives, or without developing the strategies which could reduce or replace the pesticides, we cannot advise or we cannot recommend to reduce or not to use the pesticides. So having this in mind, and to develop some of the alternatives, we propose the AIMS project, that is actually agriculturally important microorganisms. Microorganisms, they got greater potential, not only reducing the disease, but also promoting the health of the plant, as well as promoting the environmental health. So in this
Head of the Department of Food Production, Dr. John Allen, Special Advisor on Agriculture to the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Wayne Ganpat, Dean of the Faculty of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Reynolds Stone, Head of the Department of Food Production, Dr. Durai Sami, Sarah Vanna Kumar, also known as Dr. Sarah. I can pronounce it. Senior lecturer and AIMS project leader. As a specially invited guest, participants of the workshop, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Well, very special welcome to everybody and all the lecturers who are here, the students. But more importantly, this course is for participants invited here this morning. We're just coming off another successful, some of you all would have participated in the 2-day training we had on technology stewardship that came out of the Department of Agricultural Economics and Extension. We had extension officers from all across the country, state and state assisted. We had this wonderful workshop on technology stewardship. Some of you all participated in it, on how to take charge of your technology and disseminate it to farmers. We're also coming out of 5 days of training under the supported by the Cropper Foundation on a similar topic of eco-friendly approaches to agriculture production. And this one is following up another 2 days. Now there's a trend that is happening here. And what is this trend? You need to roll back something. You need to roll back something, and it has started. You know, there's a old saying, you all know it, what's sweet in the goat mouth, sour in the butter. Right, so pesticides was the godsend in the 1970s to roll back inorganic pesticides, chemicals and fertilizers, to roll back poverty, to roll back hunger, etc. And it was indeed a godsend in Asia. Roll back starvation in many places in Asia, India, and other places around the world. Godsend. And high pesticide use. And extension was in its glory in those days, transferring this technology to farmers, and farmers adopting all these pesticides and chemicals, and companies making a lot of money and all this kind of thing. And everything going well, till suddenly they realize cancer is rising, diseases rising in people, the environment is becoming polluted, everything is happening. And they traced it all back to these high pesticides use, right? So it was sweet, but now it's sour. And that's where we are today. So there has been concerted effort so far to try to reduce this. And this started, for those of you all who remember, I think we should remember, it was 2000 when we collaborated with CABI, when we started farmer field schools in Trinidad and Tobago. We had farmer field schools all over the country, and farmer field schools was geared with the university also, Professor, you remember that, to roll back this pesticide use and to encourage use of safer pesticides. I don't think they are safer pesticides, but more ecological friendly work. And farmer field schools has gone on, and we have adapted it, and we have gone different versions of it, but it all geared towards eco-friendly approaches for vegetable diseases. Vegetables are produced widely in Trinidad, a lot of pesticides. As extension officers, we all know this, right? So the time has come to do something about it. We have been doing training, plenty training going on. But this training is by itself insufficient. It has to reach the farmers. We have to transfer this training. Farmers have to adopt eco-friendly approaches. So we have to use new methods and techniques in extension to have farmers adopt this training. If we do the same thing all the time, we're going to get the same results. We need to try different methods. That's why we had the technology stewardship training just recently, so that we could try different methods using ICTs and modern communication methods to have farmers adopt all these things that are very important. They're important for the health of our country.
On behalf of our office at the Prime Minister, on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture and my colleagues here, I want to welcome you all. I want to say thanks to Dr. Ganpert and everybody who are participating. I also want to ask you that when you're coming, make sure, walk with a friend, walk with people, bring them in. Training is really, this is very, very important. If you look at the schedule here, it's rampant with everything that you can, yet still we have spaces. So again, before I do close, I want to say, well, welcome. This is a direction that we really want to go with regards to the new frontier of agriculture. I also want to do a little announcement because I know people are hearing, and I want to thank the United States Department of Agriculture who have offered us 2 scholarships over the next month, 3 weeks in the United States, to send people to be trained in micropropagation techniques, citrus micropropagation techniques. So all of these would come back and flow into the whole stream, and we hope that it will be beneficial to the country. Again, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here and wish you all the best for the training.